Rumors swirled last night on Twitter that Lane Kiffin was about to resign his position at Ole Miss and take the Auburn job. And that by the end of the week, remember on Thursday is when Ole Miss will play this week. Ole Miss will play Mississippi State on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night of the Egg Bowl. That once that happens, Auburn will put forth a big offer and that he will take it. And I'm sure devastating for Ole Miss fans. But look, there is a ceiling you hit at Ole Miss that you do not hit at Auburn. Auburn has played for or won national championships with Gene Chizik and Gus Malzahn. Those guys aren't winning an SEC, let alone a national championship at Ole Miss. Lane is obnoxious. He is arrogant. He is petty. But the dude can coach. And he's now proven this in his last 2 collegiate football stops. I think there was a point in time back in the early teens, his year at Tennessee, his years in Oakland, his years at USC, where Lane wasn't ready. That Lane's personal idiosyncrasies, his personality, got in the way of his coaching. I think he's always been a very bright offensive mind. He's grown up around coaching. His father, a longtime coach. He understood the profession, understood what it took, had a really good schematic mind. But, kind of as I said about Zach Wilson, he was a brat. He's a petty, arrogant brat. And didn't know how to get out of his own way.
Oh, okay.
I think he's still petty. He's still certainly obnoxious. But I think he's found a way to settle into the role and still be himself. Those personality traits, they don't really work if you're under siege and you're not winning and there's big expectations and you're not living up to them. Happened in Oakland. 1 year at Tennessee. Multiple years at USC where the product wasn't as good as the hype was. But you can't say that anymore. At FAU, I don't want to call it a miracle, but Lane was excellent. In his 3 years at Florida Atlantic, they won the conference twice in the Conference USA. And both those times they had double-digit wins. They went 11-3 and undefeated year number 1 when he was there. Final year, 10-3, 7-1 in conference. So for that level, for what he was given, won right away. Their run game was outstanding at FAU and made the Owls relevant. I mean, FAU still struggles with that. It struggled with that their entire program history. For those 3 years, Lane made them relevant and made them winners and made it a thing. Won the conference twice. Gets to Ole Miss and gets there in the COVID year. Okay, so that's kind of a punt. They go 500, 5-5. Last year, though, 10-3. Made Matt Corral a first-round draft pick or whatever. Where did he end up going? Second round?
Second round.
Made Matt Corral one of the first 5 quarterbacks drafted, and goes to a Sugar Bowl last year, and they end up finishing at number 11 in the country. And this year, again, they have floated in the between 10 and 20 rankings for most of the season, and in an absolutely brutal SEC West, has held their own. And had a chance against Alabama recently to actually have a track to the SEC championship game. They lost Matt Corral. They went all run game. Okay, let's pound the rock. And Lane has creatively found ways to do that. This is a team that's right now ranked number 14 in the country. Their 3 losses, LSU, Alabama, Arkansas. LSU is going to go to the SEC championship game. Alabama's Alabama. Losing last week against Arkansas, not great, but still a team that has done more with less, I think you can say, under Lane Kiffin. I think he's outgrown the stuff that we always picked at him for early in his career, and he still brings a salt and an edge. He's not going to be easy to embrace for anybody that's not rooting for him, but he's a really good coach. He's a really good offensive mind, and he's found a way to be the modern coach in a collegiate football atmosphere where you have to be cool, social media oriented, NIL forward. You have to be player forward. He is. He is. I think he's a really good coach, and I think it's a slam dunk for Auburn. I think it's way better than going down the road of Deion Sanders. You just came out of Brian Harsin, who had no pelts on the wall from an SEC standpoint. Lane's got him. At Auburn, you're going to have more money than Ole Miss. You're going to recruit better than Ole Miss. You're going to have a ridiculous fan base. You're going to have major donor money helping your NIL situation. It's easier to recruit big-time talent to Auburn, a place that they've played for national championships, than it is at Ole Miss. You're going to be able to acquire more talent. To me, Auburn, I mean, this couldn't be a better fit. It's not a guarantee because Lane is still Lane, but it's the safest bet you could make for Auburn to once again become Auburn. And in a side of the SEC that has Alabama and LSU's now going to be a force to be reckoned with Brian Kelly until further notice. Who knows about A&M? I mean, Jimbo Fisher's an absolute nightmare. But you've got to try to navigate Alabama and LSU every single season, and then Georgia on the other side, and maybe Tennessee. We'll see about Florida. What happens on the SEC East side is a different beast. But in the SEC West, Lane Kiffin makes Auburn immediately a player.
Oh, and Matt Corral ended up being a third-round pick. I forgot all those quarterbacks went in the third round this year. Ritter, Malik Willis, and Corral. It wasn't a second-round run.
Willis wasn't second either?
No, they all went in the third. I mean, Pickett went in the first, but the next wave of quarterbacks was that night at round 3.
Wow, so Pickett went 20-something to the Steelers, 24th, 26th, something like that?
Yeah, I got to look that back up. But no quarterbacks at all in the second round.
None of the second, and then Malik Willis was the first next QB taken?
He was not. Desmond Ritter was for the Falcons.
Oh, Ritter
Then it was Malik Willis. Then it was Corral with the Panthers, who, if Corral didn't get hurt, is probably playing right now.
No doubt. Yes, Corral would be playing for the Panthers had he not been hurt preseason.
Pickett went 20th overall.
20th. So, yeah, I think this is a total win if Auburn can figure it out to get Lane over there. I understand why Lane would want that job. Also, Lane, I'm sure, would love to have more of an equal playing field when he battled Saban every single season. Now, you got to hope for Alabama to be a little bit down, and you've got to play your perfect game to beat him at Ole Miss. At Auburn, the playing field is leveled. You are recruiting against them. You can win some matchups in the recruiting game against them. And that because Saban abused him. Saban just mentally abused him when he was at Alabama. Probably made him a much better coach by doing so. Humbled him, but Lane wants that. Lane doesn't want to go coach Oregon State. He does not want to coach, at Illinois. He wants Saban every single year on an even playing field.
Not only does he want that, I think that this is just the next step towards angling to be Saban's replacement when he retires. Get in the state of Alabama, recruiting ties, do the Auburn thing, and then jump to Alabama when Saban is said and done.
Wouldn't Dabo take that job first, though?
Depends who Alabama wants first. I mean, do you think Alabama wouldn't want Lane either?
I think you'd prefer Dabo if you had your choice over Lane.
But let's see what that looks like in 5 years.
That's fair.